Hey
Hi,
Ankit,
sir.
how you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good, great, good to see you.
Today we have quiz, sir.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's on programming or the theoretical questions.
I think I will take it on programming.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you, sir. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Are you having a competition with me for hair growth? Okay. Yeah. So, how are you doing, Dinesh? Good to see you. Manthan,
Good to
good
see,
to see you.
Professor. Good.
Yeah, who else is here? Only four of you? Yes. So, who is missing?
Shreyas is coming.
Huh?
Shreyas.
Okay. Okay, let's start then, huh? So I'm going to have a little bit of quiz at the end of this lecture, right? And now I've decided that I'm going to have from tomorrow on, I'm going to have a quiz on daily basis, right? So that I saw that some people were not paying attention to the lectures. So I've decided that I would have a quiz every day, right? At the end of every lecture, right? So that you get to pay a little bit more attention to the lectures, right? So let's start it. Let me share my screen with you. So this was the code we were doing last time. So what have we done so far is that we have all these various attributes, right? We have all these various attributes. And in the first setting of this file, we had all these attributes sitting outside this array, right? We have separate attributes, right? And then we thought that, okay, let's put them together into an array, right? So now they are sitting into an array, right? And we are saying that this array is public array, and here we have this constructor, and in this constructor we are actually initializing all these various elements of the array, and here we are using them in index4.php. And in index4.php, as you can see, that we can reach out to these various attributes like this. So how are we reaching out? So for example, we can see over here that this user1 is a new user of the type user, right? And these are the parameters we are sending: 20, Frank, Louis, any email, and 123, right? So basically these are the various items we are sending to this various parameters sending to the constructor of the user. So the constructor will run. So this is the constructor. It will run and it will execute this code. And by virtue of executing this code, right? So basically it is going to initialize this particular array. So this particular user is going to have these attribute values, right? And then here we are changing one of the attribute value like this, like that user1, and we can access the internal attributes of user1 by using this arrow operator. And so we can say user1 arrow attribute sub email, and we can change the email, right? So similarly over here, we are actually doing what? We are displaying the various attribute values, on the screen by echoing them out, right? And so this is what's happening. And here we are having an extra attribute added to this user1. This attribute is not part of the class, but it can be added as an extra attribute to this user, right? Guys, are you getting me? So once we have done this thing, so this page looks something like this in the browser, right? So we are looking like this. Now the deal here is that I was saying that anybody can intervene within the class. So for example, I went over here and I changed the email address, right? That, that might not be even mutable, right? We want this email, we might want that this email address should not be changed once we have we have initialized it, right? So basically, or one can even put a wrong email address as I'm putting right over here, right? So this is not good that anybody can intervene to the interior of the class without class's permission. And I mentioned this thing that object-oriented programming basic concept can be abbreviated as apple pie, right? So A stands for abstraction, and abstraction, this thing that we are abstracting various entities within a setting or within a system into one class. So this is going good. But then comes the concept of encapsulation. Encapsulation is that the interior of a class should not be intervened without the control of the class. So nobody should be allowed to unauthorizedly, alter the interior of the class, like its attributes, right? Whereas this is right now what's exactly happening. So this is against the concept of encapsulation. So if we want to implement the concept of encapsulation to a class, so the first step is that we have to change it from public to maybe private, or maybe to protect it, right? So once we make it private, you can see that it is going to go into an error, right? If you do so, it is an error, right? Why is this an error, right? From where this error is coming? If you read this error carefully, you will see that it is coming from index4.php line number 7. So if you look into line number 7, what exactly is happening in line number 7? So in line number 7, we are trying to reach into an attribute of this user1 with the name email and want to change it. And basically this error is saying what? This error is saying that, hey, this particular attribute is a private attribute. It is no more a public attribute. So you cannot intervene with it. You cannot mess with it. Not only you cannot change it. Say, for example, if I just comment out this line, save it, and reload it, right? And you can see that a new error comes up, and this is saying that this error is happening at line number 21. Why is this error happening at line number 21? So this is saying again this thing that cannot access private property. So if we go and check line number 21, you can see that we are trying to reach to this particular property over here, which we cannot, because not only we cannot change it, we cannot even access it outside the class, because it is what? It is private now. It is no more public, right? So we cannot access it, right? Whereas this is not causing any trouble. Why? Because this is some new property we are adding to the object. So this is not an issue, right? Issue is that once we are reach into a private property, either want to change it or want to just access it and display it, it is the error, because class is saying, hey, stop. You are not authorized to reach it. Why? Because it is private. Or for that matter, we can also make it protected, right? So we can come over here. So instead of private, we can say that this is protected, right? So protected is little different from private. Protected means that it is reachable within the class and within the children of the class, but not from outside, right? So it would still generate an error, right? We come over here and you can see that it is still an error, right? So the deal here is that once we have the attribute of the class, right? So how to reach them then? This is not justified that we have made a class and it has attributes and now we cannot even reach them. Make sense? Right? So we cannot even reach them, right? So if you want to reach into them, you need to provide getters for those attributes, right? So you need to provide what? You need to provide getters, right? So we come over here we say, so let's make getters. So we call them getters. So we say get, we say this is a function and this is a public function, and this function is, and by the way, one more thing. Once we say that something is protected or something is, for that matter, private, so this is just a convention that we start its name by underscore, right? We start its name by what? Underscore, right? So we will just say underscore here, right? So underscore over here, underscore over here, underscore over here, and underscore over here. Similarly, if we want to access them over here, we will also access them, we will also try to access them rather by underscore, right? So just an underscore here, though this is still an error, whether it is underscore or no underscore, this is still an error, right? Okay, so let's reload it just to see the same error is coming on the same line. Right, the same error on the same line, number 21, that you cannot reach because it is protected or whatever the property is, right? Okay, so I was saying that how to reach them now. So in order to reach them, we need to have getters, right? So we'll say public function underscore, or since this is public, so we say get, what should be the name? Get ID, right? Get ID. And we come over here and empty it. And this function is going to do what? This function is going to say return this. Right? Similarly, we need to get first name, right? So we come over here, we say function, public function, get first name. Right? And here we are going to return this thing. Right? And similarly, you come over here, we say public function. What are the attributes? Last name. So we say get last name. And we say return this thing. Right? And what else is there? Email. So we come over here, we say public function get email. Return copy, paste, email, right? And then we make another function, get password. And we come here, we say return the password. Right, guys? So we have got all these getters, right? What are these called? These are called getters, right? So getters must be present within the same class, for which we want to get the variables, right? So they are present over here, and we are about to use them. So basically, we come over here, and instead of saying all this thing, let me copy it. Let me paste it over here. And let me comment it out because this is error. So just want to keep it so that you know that this is error, right? So we come over here and we say, so instead of saying that user ID is this, whatever. So we come over here, we say get ID, right? Similarly, we come over here, just delete it. And we say get, oh, I have deleted too much. Okay, so this is get ID is done. And then we have user one, and then we say it has already automatically kind of selecting it. So we can say get first name, right? Similarly, we can come over here. We can say get last name, right? We can come over here. We can say anybody is not quite getting it, please don't let it go because this is serious. I'm going to ask you quiz out of it. So user one get email, right? And then we come over here, we say get password, right? And here we come, and this is like sitting outside, right? Let it be outside. So we as outside the array. So we have utilized these gets, and let's try to see the outcome of this adjustment. So we come over here, save it, and reload, and you can see that it has started working now, right? Why? Because once we have made that array, and declare it private, now we cannot reach it directly. But these getters are public, so we can get hold of these parameters through these getters. Are you quite getting it, guys? Any questions so far?
Sir, why didn't we call get username there?
Because
That
my dear,
function.
this username was added on the fly by this line, right? So basically username is not part of the array. So
Okay.
it is being declared outside the array, and this is like just a public attribute, right? And
Yeah.
this is just for username. And this is not the best thing, this is definitely against the ideology of object-oriented encapsulation. But for now, we are allowing it, and later on, we are going to see this thing, that how to get hold of it and how to disallow it.
Okay.
Got it?
Sir,
Any other question, guys?
can you open your class dot user folder PHP file?
Say it again.
Can you open that file?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, my dear. Here is the class.
Uh, I guess we passed parameter in get password method. Why?
Say it again. Get password. We had a okay, no
Yeah.
problem. We must delete it. Thank you very
So
much.
why we didn't get error when
Oh,
we
because my dear, since it is not being used, right? So it is going to
you
take its so its default value was empty. So it was having its default value. Once you don't pass it anything, right? It is expecting something. You are not passing anything. It is going to get the default value, right? So here default value was this.
okay?
Manthan, are you getting me? So for
Yeah.
example, if we say this thing like this, save it, right? Now it is expecting and we are not giving, now it would be an error.
Okay.
Right? Now it is an error because it does not have a default value, right? So previously it had a default value, right? Which is empty string. So it was taking it, right? Got it?
Yeah.
Good question. Very good. Yes, my dear. Yes, any question? Okay, so once we have got these getters, right? Now the next thing is, let's say, for example, we have made an object. Now we want to change some of the attributes, right? Definitely, nothing is like, stone written. So sometime or many times actually, we need to, I'm sorry, we need to change the values of the attribute, right? So like we have got getters, we need to have what? We need to have setters, right? So we need to have setters also. So it means that we have to have setters. So let's make setters also, right? Let me make setters here. So for example, I come over here and I make a function. And this is again a public function. So I say set ID, right? And now it is going to have a value, right? Now it is going to have a value, right? And here, in very basic sense, I'm going to do what? I'm going to say this arrow underscore attributes ID is equal to dollar value. Right? So basically, but the deal here is that now you can change the value to anything, right? For example, 1, 2, 3, 20, 40, a string, anything, which might not be the best idea, right? Are you getting it? Because we, for example, may want that ID must be an integer, right? ID must be an integer, right? So it means that once we get hold of an ID, right, a new value of ID, so we must check it first that whether it is conforming according to some proper standards. So for example, we can check if filter var dollar value comma filter validate int. So we want to check this thing, that is it an integer, right? Is it an integer? So we are saying filter var value filter validate int. So if this is an int, then we are going to change it. And even then we are not going to change it like this. We are going to do something else. We are going to say filter var value filter sanitize number int. So if somebody is trying to send us through, some kind of harmful code over here, right, then, we are going to smash that code and we are going to make it into an int. So basically this is the idea of encapsulation, that once we are initializing or changing some attributes of a class, right, some internal attributes of a class, we are testing them, that are these according to certain, criteria, are they holding some kind of criteria? If we want an integer to be coming, is it actually an integer which is coming, right? Is it according to certain, size or whatever, right? And then once it is conforming to those restrictions, then we actually, accept it. So what do we do otherwise? Otherwise, if it is not so, else, what should we do else? Stay silent? So if it
Give
is
error.
not, yes, please.
Return. Give error. Return error.
Yeah, so basically if this is so, that it is not according to certain standards, what should we do? We actually, throw exception. We say, hey, halt, something is very wrong, right? So we say else, throw an exception. So we say else, throw new exception, right? And here we can have the exception that something is wrong with ID. So we can say ID must be an integer, right? And we can check one more thing over here. Uh, that value is greater than or equal to 0, right? And it is conforming to this, right? So for example, we want that ID must be positive, right? So we need to make this test over here. Are you guys quite getting it? Any question? Any question, guys? So we have just checked it, and once it is not conforming to this thing, we have to throw the exception. Exception will tell terminate this code here and throw the exception, which we are going to catch somewhere that here something has gone wrong. And if you are running some kind of error codes, like 1 is for this, 2 is for things, and making an index for that, you can have this error code. Otherwise you can just remove it, right? So basically we have got this setter, right? So we have got this setter which is setting the ID, right? So let me make a setter for first name. So I come over here, I say this is a function, and it is set first name. It is going to have a value also, right? And here we say, no, ideally, this is what we want to do. If everything is hunky-dory, this is exactly what we want to do, right? But say for example, somebody is sending us some harmful code, he would be successful to inject that code into our, harmful code into our system, right? So we must check it. We say if is string. So we are expecting a string, right? So if is string, if this is a string, number one, and maybe we are going to put it in database later on, and we have some database limitation that how many characters we can put in the database. So we can say and uh, is it length? I don't know. Let me check. Is it string length? So for example, I have forgotten this thing. I will go to my friend Google. So I will just punch in PHP string length.
Star E.
PHP string length, right? So strlen, right? strlen, right? So we come over here, we say that strlen string length of value is, so something must be coming, is greater than 0. And we can also do one more thing. Before we take the string length, we can trim it, right? So that, there are not just spaces, right? So string length subtrim subvalue is greater than 0, and this length is less than or equal to maybe 1024, right? So we have taken a very big value, right? Nobody's name would be more than 1024 characters, right? But just in case, somebody may want to break our system, right? So we don't want to allow a string after some length, right? And if it is going too big, we can just break it into two. So if it is greater than 0 and less than or equal to this, then we are going to do this thing. We can put this over here. And we are not going to do it like this. We are going to sanitize it, right? So we come over here, we say filter var value, comma, filter sanitize string, right? And we can come over here, else. So in else block, what are we going to do?
Exception.
Throw
Yeah.
exception.
So throw exception, right? Throw exception, and we will throw the exception that first name is not good. Okay, let's keep it simple, right? Save it. So one more thing, sometimes people are working on a project and they would think that somebody else will come and secure their code. So mind this thing, that nobody is going to come to make your code secure. Once you are punching in code, you are the one who is going to make it secure, right? So definitely, security comes with cost. You need to know that how to implement it, number one. And then you have to punch in all those keys to make it secure. So for example, I could have done this thing simply. So for example, let me show you in the set first name function. So I could have done it like this, Control C, Control V, and just, change it to set, right? And then instead of return, say this is value, and here this is equal to value. End of the story, right? But the deal here is that this code is not at all secure. It is prone to all sort of different attacks like cross-site scripting attacks, SQL injection attacks, right? You name one attack and that attack is going to come to it. So the only way to make a code secure is to make it secure while you are writing it. There is no way other than this that you can make it secure. Are you getting it, guys? Hello, everybody.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good. So now let me just copy this. And paste it, and this is last name, and this is last name, and this is also right. Last name is not good, right? So basically this is your setter, and I can remove this setter for now. Maybe I can shift this up. So we have set ID, get ID, set first name, and we have this now. Get first name, we have set last name, we have get last name, right? And we can have get email, right? So let me make set email, right? So I come over here, maybe copy this, Control C, Control V. So that's me set email, right? And it has a value. Right? And here, once we get a value, we say if, so ideally what should we do? Ideally, we should do something like this. This arrow underscore attributes email is equal to $value, right? But then, it is against the principles of encapsulation, that whatever is coming, we are receiving it without any issue. This is not good. This is not absolutely good, right? So what should we do? We have to evaluate it first, right? And then we have to sanitize it. So we'll say if filter var $value filter what was that? Filter sanitize filter validate, right? Filter validate email. So filter validate email. So we are going to validate it first, right? And then if it is validated, then we are going to get it. So Control X, Control V, but not like this. We are going to sanitize it. So we say filter var. So sometimes people, think that I am very much conservative in this sense, but then once I am conservative in providing security, nobody would be able to break my code then, right? So filter var $value and filter sanitize, right? And then we can say else. And now you cannot just put any email, right? You cannot just put any email, right? So we can say else, do what? Throw exception, right? And exception is email is not good, right? And then we can come over here. So this is get the email getter. Now we have this set password. So we can come over here. So here also, let's copy it. Copy, paste, set password is going to have a value, right? So what are we going to do with the password? Okay, one more thing we can do always, like we have done in the first name, that we trimmed it, right? Did we? So we can trim it actually. Similarly with the last name also, we can trim it. Just, just to avoid unnecessarily spaces people may put inadvertently, right? And then we can have set email, and we can trim over here also. Right, so we can avoid those extra spaces. Okay, so once we have done so, we can come back to set password, and once we have this password, so what can we say over here? We can say if validate password. So say we want to call a function validate password and give it this value, whatever is coming, right? And where is this function? This function we are going to make right over here somewhere. So we come over here and we say this is a function, and make it a private function or protected function. So previously these functions were public functions, but this is a function which this class is going to use internally, right? So we can make it a protected function, and we name it validate password. Right, we name it validate password, and since this is going to be a protected one, so we can put an underscore up front. So we can have this underscore over here also, and once this is the method of the same class, so we will call it by this, right? And then it is going to have a value, and here we are going to check it that is this value according to certain standards. So for example, we can check if trim dollar value, if trim dollar value, and then we are going to check string length of this. So string length trim dollar value is greater than or equal to 6 maybe, right? Say for example, we want to have this policy. So here we can have any kind of policy, right? So here we can have any policy. So if string trim value is greater than 6, then return true, else return false, right? So this is just a weak check that we are just checking the length, right? Here you can check the regular expressions or whatever you want to check, right? There could be endless possibilities here. So if this is greater than or equal to 6, then it is going to return true. And if this is true, then we are going to set it. But as you know this thing, that as soon as we get the password, we are going to hash it. So we say password hash and password default. So this is the hashing mechanism. We will implement it, or else. So here we can have a message. So we can throw the exception. So we can throw the exception. We say throw exception. Please give password according to our policy, right? So basically it is done, right? So we have got this setter for the password, get password, and then we have this protected function which validates the password, right? Now this class is ready to use up to certain state. Any question, guys? So if I go over here and use it, say I come over here and reload this page, right? So that fatal error thing is gone, right? And we are good about it, right? So it is working, getters are working properly, right? Let's test the setters also, right? Let's test the setters, right? For example, we come over here and we say let's use this thing. Where is the email? Let's have ID, right? For example, we say, or let's use email. Do we have email? Yeah, this one. So we say user1 and then arrow function, arrow operator, set underscore attribute, set email, right? Set email is the name of the setter. Set email, and since it is a function, we are going to put these brackets, right? And then we put this email. Maybe email is a@b. Let me put a good email first, right? So a1 underscore sona at gmail.com, right? Save it, go back over here, reload it. Something is wrong. Okay, it is working. Why is taking so long? Okay, so anyway, so it is working, and you can see that it is working. The setter is working as we thought. It has set the email address according to the given value. Any question, guys? Any question so far? Okay, so let me give a wrong email address value, right? Maybe not a valid email address. Let me say that GM, right? A1 underscore SONA at GM, right? So save it and let's see what happens. Reload it. Right? Fatal error, uncaught exception. Email is not good. So what has happened? That the code over there in the class has thrown an exception. Has thrown what? Has thrown an exception, which we have not caught. So it means that once a code is throwing exception, you cannot just put it open. You have to put it into a try catch block. So we say try catch, right? And we come over here and we say, we've just cut this entire code over here and put it over here. And in the catch, we say echo $E, which is exception, get message, right? Whatever the exception is coming, get that message and display it, right? So save it, reload it. Right, so basically, we have got this exception that email is not good, and we have caught it, and the execution goes on, and here we have a notice, undefined property username, right, on line 32. So we have an undefined property username. Let's see, why is it undefined? Any idea? Because once an exception was thrown from here, this code line was not executed, right? So if we want that this code line get executed, so maybe cut it from here and put it afterwards. Save it, and now you will see that this notice will go away, right? So username is FL. Are you guys quite getting it? Any questions so far?
Then the email address will be the default one only. in
Yeah,
an
then the
email.
email address would be the default one only because that was not executed.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to say? Or anything else you have noted over here?
Any email?
Any email, so what is wrong with it? Yes, yes, speak out, please. You might be thinking right.
It takes a by default email. And
So the problem here is that, well, we are definitely, closing doors in the setters. That, hey, setter, you must check that email address is very correct, and then we are going to get it. But question here is that why is it getting this wrong email address over here? So this is not valid email address. Why is it getting a wrong email address over here?
Because of exception.
Because
Through exception is go to catch.
no, because the problem here is that when we are running constructor, we are actually taking these parameters as is. We are not doing any research on them over here. So here, this is wrong. This is not correct, right? So we need to do what, right? Let me copy and comment it. What should we do? So instead of having them directly taken, we need to call for the
get
setters,
set.
right? We need to call for the setters, right? We need to call for the setters. So we can say this thing. We can come over here. We say, we can come over here and we can say this set ID, right? And then we have to say this, right? And set first name, right, guys? And then we can come over here and we have to say set last name, right? And we can come over here and we can say set email, right? And we have to come over here and we have to say set password, right? Once you have saved this thing, right? Once you have saved this thing, now you know this thing would be enforced. And now it is not going to go away, right? Say for example, it has still a discrepancy, and let's run this code now. We come over here, we reload the code. Warning, right? So it is giving a warning that something has gone wrong, and this is a fatal error that something has gone wrong again, right? So what is this issue? The issue over here is, look, once an exception occurs over here, say for example your control came over here and there was an issue in the email, right? Because from here set email And that is the reason that set email sent us an exception, right? But we never caught that exception over there, right? We never caught that exception over there. So we can come over here, and in spite of doing this thing, we can put this all into try catch block. Right? And here we will cache the exception and throw it further, because this is a class, right? So in cricket, for example, sometime, we catch the ball and don't keep it and throw it further. I'm sorry, right? I threw my computer actually, right? So basically you throw it further, right? So basically this is not good. So basically this is what we are doing here, right? That we are catching the exception and throwing it further to be resolved in the actual code. Any questions so far? Got it? So once we have done this thing, let me comment over here. The following is weak code. Right? Save it. And now we see that what happens. I don't know why I keep on asking for Siri. Okay, so we come back over here and let's reload our page. Okay, it has warning creating default object from empty value on line number 14, right? So let's see what's happening here in line number 14. Okay, let's comment it, because it has some issue with over here, so it is causing trouble. Let's save it. Right, email is not good, right? And here undefined variable user1 on line number 27, right? So line number 27 has undefined variable, because since there was an error, so it was not defined. So line number 27 is giving an issue over here. So we can come over here and we can say if is set this particular user, then do all this stuff. Save it. Save it. Reload it. Right now those errors are gone. Right? So now if we give the right input over there, so maybe any email at g.com. So it might not be a valid email address. So it is not going to go and check that whether it is an existing email. It is just going to check the format, whether the format is good or not, right? So save it, and let's come back over here and reload it. Oh, something is wrong. Oh, please give password according to the policy, right? So now this is the issue. We come back over here. Password is 123, so it should be 456. 6 characters long at least, right? So we come back over here, reload the page, right? So again, it is saying email is not good. Why is email not good? Okay, where is email not good?
I think we
Exception
have
is where,
set user
oh,
one email.
this is where, you know,
Yeah.
it is being created that email is not good, right? So basically we can come over here, maybe correct it, right? So we can see the utilization of setter also. So you can see this thing that email is being, so what is this undefined property username, right? So because we just, you know, commented it out, so we can uncomment it now. Save it and reload it, and you can see that it is working according to our desires, right? And you can see that password is not like 12345 6 anymore, it is hashed. You cannot even recognize what is the password, and you know, next time you reload it, it is going to give you entirely different hash. Why the hash is different? Because salt would be different, right? Very good, because salt would be different, right? Got it? So we have reached to one more level in making this class. Any questions so far? So let me go ahead and shift it to further one level further up, right? So now the deal here is, let me do one thing. Let me duplicate it to index5.php, and let me duplicate this one into class.user5.php, so that you know, you can understand that why I'm doing so that you can make keep track of these. It was not created. Duplicate. Was it 5? Right. And let me go to 4, close them. And index 5. And let me require once class.user5.php. Any questions so far, guys? Everything is good?
Sir, what is the difference between salt and pepper?
Salt is salt and pepper is pepper. So you got my old exam?
Sorry, no, sir.
So this is a question I asked in one of my exams, that what is the difference between salt and pepper? And we got all the different answers, right? So the deal here is that in computer science, there is nothing like pepper. There is only salt.
But for the client side, we used to use pepper, right?
I have never used it. I have to search it. You're talking really about it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Let me Google it right away. Yeah, this is something I've never used it. So let me just close it. And let me Google search. So which language?
I don't remember it, sir. I worked on this back in my bachelor's.
So what language?
It was Java.
Java? Was it related to hashing?
Yes, sir.
Hash pepper. Okay. Looks like there is something.
I think second leg is good. Second
Okay.
link.
Second link is good. Somehow it stopped opening. Okay, definitely this is something good. So let's see. So you're saying paper is a secret added to an input such as a password prior to being hashed. Okay. So the deal here is that paper is like kind of secret. So it would be added, look, salt is saved along with the password. Paper is something which will not even save, right? And it will be known to the function that this would be the paper. Are you getting it? So if somebody gets hold of your hash, he or she is going to have the salt. But paper is something which is stored in the code. And it is going to come and attach with the salt to make the full combination.
To make it more secure.
To make it more secure, yes. Have you got it? No? Let me demonstrate it, okay? Let me demonstrate it. So, yeah, this is something new I have got, I have never used it. So I thought that you are just, okay, the deal here is, say for example, this is your password. You attach salt with it. You generate hash. Sorry. You generate hash. You attach salt with it so that it can be computed at the time of verification, and you attach some extra string, maybe that how many rounds are there, maybe there are 10 rounds, so maybe you attach 10 over here, right? So you save something like this. So if a hacker comes and get hold of this entire thing, he has got the salt also. And once he or she has got the salt, right, they can try to crack it, somehow. Are you getting me? Hey, Ankit Rao?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah. So the point here is that once you use salt, you are saving salt along with hash.
Yes.
So if a hacker comes and somehow get hold of hash, so he will get to know the salt also.
Yeah.
Right? So for example, if your password was 123, right? So he will try, for example, one, add salt and hash. Then maybe 1, 2, add salt and hash. Right? And maybe 1, 2, 3, add salt and hash. And bingo, they have got the hash. Because they knew the salt. And now they know that your password is 1, 2, 3. Right?
Yes.
Okay, now the deal here is that if you have salt and pepper, both, So the deal here, this is something new for me, but I've got it. So say for example, this is your password. This is a salt. And this is, for example, pepper. So this is random, right? This is known, this is secret, right? So once we hash it, so we hash it all, we get the hash, we put like number of rounds, and we save salt here. We don't save pepper, right? So once, a hacker gets hold of this entire hash, he knows that what is the salt, but does not know that what is the pepper, right? So let me use pepper for example for you, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I come over here. So let us use pepper, right? So we come over here. Where is set password? This is set password. So we come over here and we say validate password. And then before we hash it, we come over here. Say for example, we trim it. And then we say dot. Right now, this is pepper. It is not going to save anywhere, right? This is in our code, right? Nobody knows that we added this extra string with the password.
So it is added before hashing, right?
Yeah, it is added before hashing, absolutely. And now, once I have to verify for password, you get to remind me that, hey, I have to add pepper over there also. And then we can do, password comparison. Have you got the idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me go over here. So this is an interesting thing you have brought up. Say for example, I come over here. Let me close it. And where was this is PHP arrays. Where were those files where we were doing? Okay, yes, here it is. So PHP, okay, knowing hashes, right? Right over here. So for example, we come over here, right? So let me make a new file. Maybe duplicate it. Duplicate. No, oh, duplicate. And maybe name it knowing hashes, knowing hash with pepper, right? So let me do something over here. So I come over here. This is let me remove, unnecessary code. So let me say password 1 is equal to 123 dot right? COVID-19 by. Okay, so I have added this pepper. So this is pepper. Right? So I have added this thing over here, and now I'm hashing it. And once I'm hashing it, I'm salting it also, right? So it has got salt and pepper both, right? And then this is my stored hash, right? This is my stored hash. So now some newly obtained hash is coming, right? So that is, let's remove this one because we are not going to compare it. So this is our stored hash. And now we want to use password verify. And password 1 is coming. Say, for example, password new is now coming. And password new is password new is again 123, right? So, but before we verify it, we will put pepper with it. Right? We are going to put pepper with it. And then we are going to compare it. Are you getting me? So wherever this password is going to stored in database, salt is going to be stored along with it. But pepper is not stored in the database. Pepper is as a secret available in our code. Ankit, you
Yes,
could
sir.
not
I
quite
got
get
it.
it, my dear, now?
I got it.
Right? So this is one implementation of it, that we can use both salt and pepper.
That will be hash 1, sir. The if condition.
So basically in if condition, what will happen is that once we get a new password, we will pepper it up and then it would be salted and then hashed and compare against hash 1. Yes, you're right. Got it, guys? Ankit, I really think that you have not quite got it.
So for every password, there will be a different pepper or
No, for every
same?
password, pepper would be same.
Okay.
Salt would be different.
Yeah.
Right? But the weak point of salt is that salt is stored along with
Database.
the hash. So a hacker can come and get hold of it.
Yeah.
Right? But if we have pepper also, and pepper would be like maybe some special characters also coming here, right? Maybe some small characters, maybe some alphabets, right? Something like this. So this would be the pepper.
Yes, sir.
Same would be used here. And we can put it into a separate file also. If we want, we can encrypt that file also. And at the time of utilization, we can just use it by decrypting it. So basically, pepper, is not visible to the hacker. Have you got the idea?
Yes, sir.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So, Dinesh, do you want to ask some question about this code?
No, Professor, it's good. I understand that.
Okay, great. Arun,
Shall we
Teja,
run the code to check whether it is
say it again.
shall we run this code, Professor? Like whether to check whether it's
Oh, yeah,
identical?
sure, absolutely. We can run this code. So we can run this code. Right? Two passwords are identical. So because we are using the same paper, right? Got it?
Yes, sir.
So we come back here and I'm going to give you this code. Please try it. And with open heart, if you are not quite getting it, please ask questions next time. Don't let it go. You are paying so much to be in this class that you should not let anything go. Right? I studied throughout my life as a scholarship student, but I never would let anything go without my understanding. So please don't let anything go. Okay? Once you're not quite getting it, please ask questions. Right? So let me just share this code with you. So I say get status. So I'm on branch master. Very good. I come here and I say get add dot git commit -m classes PHP classes in progress did getter and setter discussed salt and pepper, right? And git push. So would you like to share your screen to get this code so that we know that you are getting the code properly? Anybody wants to share their screen?
I have changed fields in Professor. Is that fine?
Did you work on your own branch or you worked on the master branch?
No, Professor. I think I worked on my master branch. Sorry.
Yeah, you worked on master branch. Let's see. Okay, let's come back. Please share the screen.
Yeah, sure. Host disabled.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me allow you. Please share your screen now. So yeah, okay. So just close these files.
Yeah, sure.
Close these open files already. Okay. So here, you are already in the folder.
Oh, Professor, I'm getting it.
Okay, please go into the folder.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, you are already in the folder. So
Yes, ma'am.
git status. Okay, so you have modified, you are on the branch master and you have modified these files. Okay, great. So yeah, please git add dot.
Yes, Professor.
And git commit -m. So please, and message. Have you given some message? Yeah. No, no test message. Just mention that what changes have you made. Okay, it's all right now.
Okay.
So CLS clear screen.
Okay.
Okay, great. Now here you want to get my code, right?
Yes,
So
Professor.
show git branch. So you're on the master branch. You have not even made a branch with your name, right? So please make a branch with your name and start working on that branch, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
if you want to do so, you can say get branch and whatever the name of the branch, Dinesh, right? And get branch. And now if you want to work on this branch with the name Dinesh, you can just say get checkout Dinesh, right?
Yes, Professor.
Get checkout Dinesh, and you would be on Dinesh branch, right? You can work on it, and once you will come back. You want to come back, you can say get checkout master.
Yeah, sure, Professor. Sure.
Just say get checkout master. Clear screen. So yeah, so get fetch origin space master, right? You want to fetch branch origin from the branch master from the origin, right? So
Yes,
basically you have fetched it, get status, right? So it is saying on branch master, your branch and origin slash master have diverged, right? So basically, you have worked on it, I have worked on it, so both branches have diverged, right?
yes, Professor.
Nothing to commit, working tree clean, right? And now you have to merge, right? Now merger could be conflictable, right? So that merge could take some time, but let's try it. So we say git merge.
But it won't affect the code in GitHub now, Professor.
Say it again.
It won't affect your code, right, in GitHub?
No, it is not going to affect my code, right? Definitely.
Okay.
So
Okay.
git merge origin slash master, right? So basically whatever the code I did, you have got it on origin slash master branch,
Okay, Professor.
right? Now we want to merge this origin slash master branch into your master branch.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. So what does it say?
While this merge is necessary.
Oh yeah, you have not, yeah, just write some message.
I can't type, Professor.
Yeah, is it Vim is a pain in neck, so it would be telling you that how to write.
Sorry, Professor, I can't type actually.
Okay, yeah, just just insert some, yeah, test message, yeah, just is enough, right? Enter.
Yeah, yes, Professor.
Is it telling you that how to escape from it? Okay, now
Oh, yeah.
you have merged it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so the deal
my
is that
master. Okay.
there was, by chance there was no conflict.
Okay.
Otherwise you have to resolve the conflict. So in tomorrow's lecture, just give me a reminder. I need to create conflicts, and then I will tell you that how to resolve the conflicts also.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I changed different files.
Yeah, maybe you change the different files and I did not touch them. So
Okay.
basically, this is the reason that you were able to merge them.
Okay.
Right? Any other question, guys?
No problem.
Okay, if there is no question, I will stop here. And if you want to have me for your office hours, you can stay in this conversation. Otherwise, you can simply drop. And I wish you a great rest of the day. Take good care of yourself.
Bye, Professor.
Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Welcome.